Hey, what's up guys? It's Tyler from House of Cards TCG, and yesterday we went over combos for Buster Blader. I got to show you some branded, some Bystials, mixed in with some Buster Blader. It's one of my favorite decks. Occasionally, I'll actually just bring this deck out of nowhere and I'll just revamp this deck. I have done a couple profiles on the channel of this deck. It's just one that I just can't seem to just get over. I continually just want to continue to just create this deck, create content for this deck. And occasionally, I actually take this and I play it in tournaments. Now, again, it is Buster Blader. I'm not saying that it's tier 1 potential and can win and knock down. I'm being realistic here. It's not Master Duel where it can control everything, right? It's more kind of a control deck that you can surprise people. Could you top some events? Maybe not a regional or a local, or a regional or a YCS, but a local or maybe a case tournament or something. Sure, you could catch people off guard and you could actually play a deck like this and actually do very well. So I want to create the most competitive version of Buster Blader that I could think of for right now at this format. It is the beginning of a format, and so it is kind of a little bit tricky because you don't know exactly what to play. And that's a great time for cards like this to be able to get into engines and start playing and be able to just beat your opponent. As well as if we start seeing an increase in Bystials in Dragon Link, well, this deck pretty much beats that. So that's a really good auto win for you going up against a deck like Dragon Link, Bystial Control, or even Bystials in hand that they can't even activate. So I did do a combo tutorial for this deck. You can catch it. I'm going to pin it at the top of this channel. You can go ahead, and I'll actually pin it in the top of the comments as well. So this is the profile for it. So we're going to go over card by card so you can check out what the cards do. And with all that being said, let's dive into the Buster Blader deck profile.
House of Cards
TCG.
All right, starting off, you have the bread and butter of the deck, which is the Buster Whelp. What Buster Whelp does is when it's normal summoned, you get to add yourself a Destruction Sword card. This can be a lot of different cards in the deck. It can be your Destruction Sword Memories. It can be your Prologue. It could even be your one of the extra deck locks. So Buster Whelp is a really good card. It's also a level 1 tuner, and it is a light, and it is a dragon, so you can link it off with Striker Dragon. So this card is your only normal summon. I will say though, when it is special summon, it does not get the effect to search. So make sure it's only when it is normal summon. So this is basically what you want to normal summon in this deck. Then we do have one of the Dragon Busters or Destruction Sword. This card's really good because it can be sent off branded fusion. And so you can go ahead and get into the graveyard. And then your Buster Dragon, which is the Synchro 8 in your extra deck, allows you to equip this card to a Buster Blader. That could be the fusion or just the vanilla Buster Blader. Allows you to equip this card to it, creating a lock that your opponent cannot special summon from the extra deck. Also, this card is a level 1 tuner, and also when it is equipped to a Buster Blader, you can go ahead and special summon it. So it is a free level 1 tuner that you can special summon after you equipped it on your opponent's turn. Then on your turn, you can special summon it. Use the Buster Dragon and this card to make hot red, and that gives you a negate already set up because your Buster Dragon is only live for that one turn. I like just playing 2 of the OG Buster Bladers. I do know that the Destruction Sword is pretty much has that added effect that never comes up, but it is a Destruction Sword card, so I understand why you would play the other one, but I'm going to flex and show off the secrets. I like playing the secrets. I'm a fan for secrets, so we're going to play the OG Buster Blader. This card is obviously what you want to send off Prologue. If you do not have a Buster Blader in your deck, you cannot activate Prologue. So you have to play 2 in case you open 1, or if you have a couple Prologues you want to extra deck lock, you have to be able to send a Buster Blader to the from the deck to the graveyard in order to activate Prologue, because it is a cost. You can also shuffle this back and make the fusion with cards like Lubellion, so that is something to keep in mind. You can keep recycling the Buster Blader. Then we have the Prologue of the Destruction Swordsman. This can be searched off the Buster Whelp. This card basically allows you to special summon Buster Dragon, but it is destroyed at the end of the next turn, at the end of your turn. So if you activate this on your opponent's turn, you bring out the Buster Dragon. The end of your turn, this Buster Dragon would be destroyed. So keep that in mind when you have this card, because then if you get the extra deck lock, that's why you want to make hot red. But Prologue, a phenomenal card, insane floodgate, and also it cannot be ashed because it is cost to send a Destruction Sword card and a Buster Blader from your deck to the graveyard, so that is a cost. You cannot ash this card. Now, the other card that you want to send, so if you already have the dragon, because you need a dragon to go ahead and make the fusion, if you have a dragon in the graveyard, when you activate Prologue, you want to send Buster Blader, and you want to send this card, which is Destruction Sword Memories. This card is not the worst to open, but it's pretty bad. Like 10% of the time it's okay to open, 90% of the time it's bad, but what this card does is you can actually change. So you activate Prologue, you send Memories and a Buster Blader to the graveyard, you ask for a response. If there's no response, you can chain memories because it was a cost, and it'll banish this card. And you can banish a Buster Blader and a Dragon to special summon out the Buster Blader Fusion. Now, it does have another effect that you can actually flip this card, discard a Destruction Sword card, and special summon a Buster Blader, but that hardly ever comes up. Hardly ever comes up. Mostly, you want to send this to the graveyard and be able to banish it to then be able to special out the Buster Fusion. And if you're always wondering how I know the difference between the cards, Prologue has Buster Dragon on it. So Prologue is the one that summons Buster Dragon. And then Memories kind of has the Whelp with the Buster Blader on it. So, you know, that's kind of like how you bring out the big fusion guys. So, it's kind of how I always look at it. Now, going into a more expensive engine, ever since these cards kind of, hopefully you've already got your Bystial's engine live, but these cards have obviously gone up in price. So, this is obviously what you can sub out for these cards. If you don't want to play the Bystials, you could play more of a Dogmatica presence. You could play 3 Nadir, 2 Ecclesia, 1 Fleur-de-Lis, maybe even possibly a Maximus, to see how much Kashtira really does, because obviously you don't want to go up against Kashtira and allow them to send to the graveyard. So, but you could sub the Bystials out for a Dogmatica engine, but that would be a whole separate profile, so we're not going to really get into that too much. But for now, we're going to play 2 of the Lubellion. I thought about playing 3. Ideally, I would like to play 3, but I want to really keep this as budget as possible, so I'm just going to say that you can play 2 on this. And then we're going to play 3 of the Magma, 1 of the Sorneer, 1 of the Druisworm, and 1 of the Baldrake. You basically are playing the full Bystial package. Not much I got to say about these. You kind of already know what they do. Baldrake, I thoroughly enjoy. People hate on Baldrake. I think Baldrake is an insane card. I play Baldrake, especially even in Dragons, because a lot of times, if you don't get the Beast set up, why would you bring out Druisworm when you can't even activate the effect of Beast to send this card and get the double pop? I most of the time would rather bring out Baldrake when I don't have the Beast set up, because then Baldrake can just deal with an extra deck monster. If they go into a Link 2 and you banish it, it's hard to get back into a Link 2. It just is. So then we have the branded cards, which are branded Beast and branded Regained. So obviously these cards are just insane. I love these cards so much. That's why I love playing Dragons. And now to get into the branded engine, we are going to play 1 Albion the Shrouded Dragon. This can be searched off the Branded and High Spirits, and so we won't play 1. It can also send your Regained if you already have Beast, because Beast allows you to activate Regained at the end phase if Regained's in the grave and Beast is active off of an effect like Lubellion, where this is placed face up. At the end phase, you can go ahead and activate the Regained that's in the graveyard, and it can be sent by using Albion. It's also treated as an Albaz in the graveyard. We do play 3 of the Albaz. Actually, that's my secret, so I'm going to put that in the middle. Here we go. We do play 3 Albaz because we play Branded and High Spirits. And we also play Sanctifier Dragon in the extra deck. You can special back the Albaz. And we play Branded Fusion. So I found that 3 Albaz and a Beat Dragon that you can link off with Striker Dragon is still really good too in this deck. I do play 1 Blazing Cartasia. I do know this is a very expensive card, but this card is actually insane. It is a level 4 tuner, and it is a light. This card is cracked. And his search, being able to grab it off of just anything is just insane. And Blazing Cartasia has come up so much. You can make Chaos Angel Despotter. There's just so much that you could do. You could just fuse on your opponent's turn. So I know that Blazing Cartasia is expensive. Again, you could cut Blazing Cartasia and just play the Dogmatica package, and that's perfectly fine. But for now, Blazing Cartasia has to be played in this deck because it is just so insane in this deck. Play 3 of the Branded and High Spirits. Again, searching Blazing Cartasia, searching Albaz, or searching the Shrouded Dragon. It allows you for insane setup on your opponent's turn. Again, check out the combo tutorial that I've already done, pinned at the top of the comments, and you can go check out all the different combos that you can do with this deck. But Branded and High Spirits also allows you to get a dragon into the graveyard and allows you to send Albion to the graveyard to set up either your Branded Beast, Branded Red, or anything like that that you're able to set up. So Branded High Spirits is really, really, really good in this deck, and I would highly suggest you play 3 Albaz, 3 Branded and High Spirits, and that's really how you're going to get your whole engine set up and going. We do play 3 Branded Fusion. Again, you have many options with this. You can send Cartasia, you can send the Destruction Sword, you can send a lot of cards that allow you to just further do your comboing plays. And then obviously if you have a Buster Blader in the graveyard and Dragon, Lubellion does just a lot of stuff too. So yeah, you can make the Buster Fusion, you can do a lot of different things. So Branded Fusion just crazy in this deck, and that was interesting on that profile there. Alright, next card we are going to play is Branded in Red. Branded in Red is really good. You want to be able to set this off your Albion if you already have your branded stuff set up. It's just another utility card. It's a one-of. It has application in doing a lot of different things, and so you want to play just 1 Branded in Red. And then for hand traps, I play 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Imperm, because it is a new format. And then I put 2 talents in here. If you don't have talents, you can play something like Bell. You can play something other than talents or really, those are your flex spots. So having 8 flex spots there. And this is kind of just other cards that you could be playing in the main deck that I wanted to show off. This is obviously optional, but one card is Pot of Prosperity. This does interact with Regain though, where you can't activate Regain to draw, but it's usually fine because you're not going to be banishing much after that once you get your Regain set up. And so that's fine if you activate Pot of Prosperity on your turn. You're probably not going to resolve Regain the same turn anyway. So with that, like Pot of Prosperity, perfectly fine. You can play this in this deck. I didn't want to include it in the deck profile because it is an expensive card, but Pot of Prosperity is an insane card to be able to dig for that Buster Whelp. Triple Tactics Thrust is crazy in the main deck. Again, I know it's another expensive card, but you can set Prologue. So if your opponent ashes you, you can just set Prologue with Thrust, and that's insane. And then obviously if they summon something, then you can go ahead and search any of your spells, like Branded Fusion. So Thrust is actually crazy in this deck. Because you play Prologue, and being able to Thrust, set that up is actually insane. So keep that in mind when it comes to Thrust, but I know that is also another expensive card. Ghost Bell is a really good hand trap this format. You can play Bell instead of Talents. Deity Crow is also another good hand trap, so you can play Crow instead of Talents or anything like that. And then you can obviously play your Trap Trick and your Veiler. So those are just little options that you could play in the deck. So now sliding on into the extra deck. Our links, we play 1 Striker Dragon, we play 1 Seal, and I included the Protector Whelp, and because I always like playing Protector Whelp in the Buster Blader deck, but because we play Branded Fusion, this is actually not necessary. You could cut the Protector Whelp for Guardian Chimera. I think that's a great switch that you could play between my deck and what I put in here versus what is in here. You could play another Seal as well, because having 2 Seal is obviously not the worst thing in the world. So you could obviously cut the Protector Whelp. It's not necessarily necessary, but I do like playing the card. And sometimes you get the Buster Fusion, it can't attack directly. You have to attack into a monster. So this card allows you to burn your opponent if it doesn't attack. So you can have this with the Buster Fusion. It could be 4,800 attack sometimes. You can just, in the battle phase, activate this effect, and you can just burn for 48. So it's kind of crazy. I play Sanctifier Dragon. This card's crazy in this deck. It's so much fun. You could special back a Buster Blader. You could special back an Albaz. There's just a lot that you could do. You could special summon back a Buster Blader to your opponent's field, and then you can bring out an Albaz to your field, activate Albaz effect, and then you can make a Buster Fusion. I mean, it's just crazy. So Albion the Sanctifier is really cool. Try it out in this deck because I think this card is insane. Obviously, Blazing Cartasia is another card too. I play 1 Lubellion, and I play 2 Albion, but I only have 1 here. So I do have another one somewhere. Let me just grab it real quick. Okay, so it was actually hiding this right here. So yeah, so we're gonna play 2 Albion. That is important in the extra deck because you want to be able to send it off Branded on high spirits and also have a target with your Mirror Jade. And then speaking of Mirror Jade, you're gonna play 2 Mirror Jade. That's my Euro one. Looks really good. Mirror Jade, obviously insane card. I'm gonna play 2 of the Buster Dragon Destruction Swordsman. This card is insane in this deck. Can't attack directly, but it turns everything on any dragons to defense mode, and they can't activate their effects. So this is part of the Buster Lock, and then it also inflicts piercing damage. So it gains 1,000 attack for every dragon, and then you can go ahead and swing in over for piercing damage. So this is a great way to OTK. We do play 1 Buster Dragon. The only reason why we play 1 is because you can recycle this. If you have the Regained, you can actually banish the Buster Dragon off of one of your Bystials, and then you can go ahead and regain, shuffle it back, and you can go ahead and keep recurring, so you don't have to dedicate so much extra deck space to a Buster Dragon. But the Buster Dragon basically turns anything that your opponent controls into a dragon, yeah. So this is the Buster Lock and how you get it. So this is only control, so this is on the field. So if they have a monster on the field, it becomes a dragon, and this turns all dragons to defense, they can't activate their effects. Now, this also applies to all dragons, so that includes graveyard and hand. So if they're naturally already a dragon, they can't activate their effects in graveyard or in their hand. That's how the Destruction Destroyer Swordsman works, but Buster Dragon only applies that effect of turning cards to dragons to what's on the field, aka to the control. Then we play Hot Red Dragon. I just can't seem to get off this card because Hot Red, obviously, this Buster Dragon has to be, you have to do something with it or it'll be destroyed off Prologue. So you can special out the either one Buster Whelp or the extra deck lock Buster, and then you can make a hot red, and that's obviously a great negate to be able to set up. And then we have Dispotter, and we do have Chaos Angel because you play Quim, and you have Bystials. And so those together make Dispotter. Dispotter can also special summon something back from the Banished, and it does apply a negate or a pop. And then Chaos Angel just being a broken card in this deck, especially because it's so easy just to get out a level 6 and a level 4, and then make Chaos Angels. So that is the extra deck. A couple of things that you could play that are alternatives, obviously Sprint, Borlo Furious, and Titaniclad. These are just Albaz targets that you can play, and this is for the Dogmatica engine, of course. And then you could also slide in a Unicorn and Access Code Talker. So with all that being said, this has been the Buster Blader deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments below, let me know any changes that you'd like to see, or maybe some updated profiles that you want to see on the channel. Please let me know below. I do a lot of Rogue. Shane does a lot of meta, so let us know down below. Please consider subscribing. And this has been Tyler with House of Cards TCG, signing out.